According to experts, transparency and competition are the key aspects in the reform of Ukraine's energy sector, as the citizens have the right to know what energy resources the state has, how the energy market functions, and whether it needs to be rebuilt. This is said in the energy reform. Although it is very complicated, it includes the reform of the gas and electricity sectors. Its very important components are the energy efficiency reform, the oil sector reform, and the environmental reform, which is tied closely to the energy system. The main task of the relevant ministry in reforming the energy sector is the diversification of the supply of energy sources to the domestic national market, as underlined by Galyna Karp. Throughout 2016, we neither bought a single cubic meter of gas from Russia nor exported a single kilowatt of energy to Russia. That is what the diversification of the supply of energy sources is. For a long time, Ukraine was dependent on Russian energy carriers and, above all, on imported gas. Now, some progress has been made in this direction. The officials are convinced a new fundamental law on the gas market has been adopted, which establishes new rules on the market and allows to settle the situation with the supply and consumption of natural gas.
Весь час Росія і російські політики крутили нами то в одну сторону, то в другу, то обіцяли якісь знижки, то забирали ті знижки.
For all the time, Russia and Russian politicians did with us what they pleased. They promised some discounts and then they took them away. So today, no one can say for sure what was signed there in the past, according to all secret documents. So the politicians have decided to create a gas market in Ukraine, similar to those in Europe.
Ринок газу подібний до тих ринків газу, які існують у Європі.
The third energy package is now operating in the European Union, which regulates relations in the electricity and gas market. Ukraine's accession to the international project provides for free competition and equal conditions for cooperation in the blue fuel market, both for foreign and domestic traders. We are talking mainly about such monopolists as the state-owned company Naftogaz of Ukraine. So the biggest corrupt scheme that existed before 2014 was at Naftogaz. Therefore, the new law on the natural gas market was designed first to separate some of Naftogaz's functions as those that distort the competitive position of this company, and second, to make sure that other suppliers and importers can enter the market so that everyone who has gas could sell it for the needs of the population and industry, which is dependent on the supply of gas.
В тому числі і для потреб населення, і для потреб промисловості. Нагадаю, промисловість також у нас є дуже залежною від постачання газу.
The gradual refusal of Ukrainian nuclear power plants to use Russian nuclear fuel became an important step on the way to energy independence of the state. To this end, Ukraine has signed a contract with the American corporation Westinghouse. As a result of cooperation, out of 13 nuclear fuel supplies last year, 4 were purchased from a foreign company. In addition, energy carriers are being replaced on the domestic market. 12% of our thermal power plants that generate electricity work on anthracite coal. We have worked on replacing the anthracite coal with gas. We have carried out the construction of the third hydroelectric unit at the Dnipro hydroelectric power station, which allowed us to replace 700,000 tons of anthracite group coal with gas. Another extremely important law on an independent regulator was adopted by the Parliament in 2016. The document determines who, how, and in whose favour should set the tariffs. According to Anton Antonenko, the common principles of openness, competitiveness, and sufficient regulation remain constant in energy reformation. The electricity market should be made by the same principles. It must be effective, it must be competitive, and it must be created according to European models, where there are several types of markets. We are on the path of making such a market. The bill has already been drafted with the participation of our European colleagues, the Secretariat of the Energy Community, and our experts. So Ukraine is not standing still in energy reformation. The necessary laws are being adopted and new rules on the energy market are being introduced. Nevertheless, this is just the beginning of a long journey that the state has to finish as soon as possible. Energy efficiency and energy independence should become priorities for the government and the basis of Ukraine's economic policy, and the introduction of European standards in the electricity and gas markets will restore fair competition among traders, help to overcome corruption in the energy sector, ensure transparency of financial flows, and attract world-class investors.